Welcome, me and Mr. Simon Cox discussing what is the future of networking, because we're now being unleashed, let loose, and where it goes. Now, I've got mixed, not mixed emotions, but mixed thoughts around where are we going with it, and how can we optimize it and get things moving and shifting as well. So I know that you've been out to a couple of networking events and you hosted your first one today. So give me your thoughts for straight away for the face-to-face from today.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting topic, and obviously having been through what we've all been through compared to where we are today, I think, I think there definitely is the opportunities to have the hybrid model, the online and offline. The first meeting I went to face-to-face was a couple of weeks ago, and I'll be honest, I was a little bit skeptical, a little bit nervous. We were told keep your face masks on unless you're drinking a cup of tea, which everyone then started to drink cups of tea. But I think everyone was a little bit nervous. We weren't sure whether to take business stationery, business cards and things. Today was slightly different, though, and it was the first one I've actually run. Now, I've been running meetings for a number of years, and our meeting's been going for 6 years. And it was interesting as the host, how the lead up and the build up to the meeting just constantly changed. I had people cancelling even as far as yesterday, saying, sorry, can't come because I was on a training course last week and somebody's been pinged since that training course. So, it's very difficult because people go to networks for different reasons. They go to learn, to meet people, but also, do business with people. And if somebody gets pinged and, of course, they're not going to be coming to that meeting, then, they've got to rearrange themselves, haven't they?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, that's something else we're thinking around is that I wonder how long this ping style is going to be going, because COVID's here to stay. It's not going to disappear. It's not going to go. We've got different variants always coming on. So there's always this chance that we're going into, it could be like minimum things like social distancing and wearing masks and things like that. But that ping-demic side could still be affecting businesses for quite a long time, So yeah, there is that business side from that. But from a emotion point of view and things like that, how was it? Did people shake hands? Did people? Because I went to one. Amy runs Atherstone Mad Hatters, so I met Luke for the first time, who's been on here that we do loads together, as you know, with yourself. So it's the first time I met him. So I was shook his hand. Lisa from Lisa Sweet Treats ended up. We had a cuddle, so we hugged each other because it's the first time we've seen each other for ages. First time I'd seen Amy as well for a year. So it was good. It was good from that side. So it was nice. You can't beat face to face. You can't beat it. There's no two ways about it. But there is that hybrid side. But what about from your side? Was there shaking hands or did you bump elbows? What did you do?
Interesting. So, I mean, there was a lot of people obviously fist pumping, bumping elbows. There was one that was late, said, what do we do? I said, well we're going to beat you up for being late. So obviously that was just a bit of fun. But most people had obviously sanitized as they came into the venue. And I actually sent out an email yesterday saying, please ensure as you come into the venue, you follow their guidelines that they are working to, that they're used to working to as well. And being a hotel, a lot of the staff are used to being around people. And the whole of COVID, I said it from day one, it will be a mental and an emotional roller coaster, and confidence will be something that will be knocked quite heavily by people. It was interesting because, again, yesterday I had somebody actually email me who booked in saying, look, I don't feel I've got the confidence to come out face-to-face to a network meeting. And you never know what goes on in people's lives. They've could have an illness or a partner that's, picks up illnesses or something very quickly, and they don't want to be carrying it on just from a business network that can be, obviously held online as well. So, but in answer to your question, I mean, most people were pretty much very sensible. And what we look at as well, I think only one out of the 17 or 18 people that were there today was actually of the younger generation. Everybody had either been double jabbed or was in the middle of being double jabbed. So I think we all felt pretty safe.
Yeah.
No one really criticised anybody if they got their own sanitizer out and started sanitising. And if anything, it was me having a bit of joke going, can you keep your cups and don't, pick up anybody else's cup and things like this. we didn't do that beforehand. Do you know what I mean? It was a case of, just being sensible. We're all adults. It's a case of just being sensible and having some common sense, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Now, so the future of what networking is. So that, and Kelly's on here. She's just said hello. That I've just flashed up that I've got or playing about with Frame VR, and we've held a networking in there. And I think we say we were going to do it on Friday morning this week. It was.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Which opens up a different dynamic, that one. So from Zoom, from what Kelly was saying, because me and Kelly had a one-to-one, I've been holding one-to-ones in there. It does give a different dynamic. And the things that I've been thinking around is, we talk about green. We were talking about green last night in the manufacturing hour. And I'm looking to reduce the carbon footprint. So for me to network, and I've said this previously in the podcast, it's a good 40 minutes each way and then an hour and a half in the network, so half my day's gone. So this the Zoom side has allowed me to really open out a lot and build a lot of really good relationships. The Frame VR and the virtual reality from a technology point of view is the next step on for me in some of this as well. So I think there is this mixture. And I know you were in it with us the other day. What did you think?
I think there's certainly a market for it. I think there's a way that we could engage in that arena. I mean, I liked the way that when you went into a zone that all the noise in the background cut out, so you could actually have a decent conversation. It's something to click on and have a bit of fun with as well. So I thought that was pretty good. Does it tick the box for me? I would use it, but I still prefer face-to-face and being, seeing the whites of people's eyes at the end of the day. And that was said to me earlier this week in a conversation we were having. If you're going to spend 50 grand with someone, you actually want to meet them. You don't want to be talking to them via a camera and not know where they actually are with a virtual background on. But, I think it just depends on what it's all about, really. I mean, I think from an exhibition point of view, from got time on my hands, let's get together, let's have a bit of fun, because it is fun as well, let's be fair. It's got a place without a doubt.
Now, that brings me on to another thing that I was thinking around was with business. So we've seen, and I've seen this with the FSB, and I know you're heavily involved with the FSB. The FSB has opened out and had a lot of access to a lot of businesses through the Zoom side of networking, far more than I think they were getting, and I think they'd be open around that, they were getting when they were doing the face-to-face. And the ability to get that feedback around questions and things like that. Now, this brings me around when you were saying, look, the business side of it. Now, I look at this is that, which I was saying to you the other day, is that when we come back to the face-to-face, because we've been opened out, we've built relationships outside of the areas, so if you take like Kettering, you're involved in Kettering, I know I'm using this as an example. So we've had people come out. I've been there, haven't I? Outside of Kettering, into your networking. How now is that going to work? Because there's been business and stuff worked from different areas. Now we're going back to face-to-face. Some of that will actually close down. So are we closing ourselves off again from these relationships and these businesses again? Now, totally understand that from a community point of view and the locality point of view, absolutely fantastic, because that's what you want. But I'm just wondering whether we are cutting off with doing that. We've cut off everything else. People from outside. Kelly's mentioned on here. Kelly's Oxfordshire, I think it is, Oxford that way. So she's away from some of us, but we've got to know her and got to know her really, really well and everything. So that's in the back of my head as well.
It's an interesting one. So today we had somebody turn up at the meeting that had never been to a network ever from Leamington. He actually travelled from Leamington Spa to come to the Kettering Business Network. Now, all right, environmental, time-wise, forget it. Productivity, doubt it. but he made the effort to come, and it was his first ever network meeting. So at the end of the day, there is, people are willing to travel. What I would look at, I mean, with what we run, we run a local business network for local businesses. If people from the external outside choose to come to that meeting online, and then it goes back to local, kind of, hey, hold on, you did join a local business network while we're on Zoom, and we were quite happy to entertain people that were from outside the area. So, because at the end of the day, there is businesses happened since. On the other side, is there a market to keep them going online as well as offline? Yeah, of course there is. And if anything, we've actually had people say to us, even today, are you going to have an online meeting? And the answer is, let's have a look at it. Let's see what the market is, because we have got people who have, skeptical, not skeptical, but they are potentially could pick up an illness from somebody. We can't really discount people who, have got disabilities or are housebound or whatever. So why shouldn't we continue the hybrid or the online meeting, should I say, even at a local level? But I'll be honest, if I was going to join a local business network online, do I really care about what's going on in the area? Unless I'm fishing for information, I want to know what's going on. Not really. Do you know what I mean? It is a toss-up. But I think there is the market for both, without a doubt, because there are plus points as well. Without a doubt, you can do both. And I think both is here to stay. I think what we'll look at with Kettering is, obviously, we want face-to-face. We want people to come together to see the venues, support the venues, get together, because we all know each other and we all kind of love each other as well, which is a bit weird, but it works for us. But when it comes to people further afield, definitely the hybrid model is an option for us to consider, and to have that introduced and probably run it once a month, maybe once a quarter. I don't know yet. It's what I've got to get the feedback from the guys to find out what they would support, to make sure, because obviously then we can capture those that are in a town centre business, for example, that can't get out to the meeting, but can click on a Zoom link and join that one. So maybe it just needs to be a different style of meeting. I don't know. I mean, I'm always one of those. It's very open to options. And at the end of the day, provided when people get value for something, I'm happy to explore it and look at it. And I think it's the opportunity that's there for both of us, really, or all of us, really.
Yeah, no, I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it did. Yeah, it did. Because, as you say, is that when you start thinking about it, is it's not going away. So we've got people that all on one side want to do face-to-face and want to get out there. Others that might be a little bit uncomfortable about it. So they've now potentially lost a communication with a contact with people with being online, and that's stopping, again, from a locality point of view. So this hybrid model, I think, is the right way to go, personally, doing a mix of both, but it's getting that balance right. I would have said that once a month probably would have been best, because that's when you start building the relationships, isn't it? So we start getting building those relationships. But against this business thing, when we want to, because I'm in the back of my mind, it's always around the economy and how we can drive it, and we've expanded out so much with bringing people in. I'm just concerned that we'll cut it off when we go back to the face-to-face. We won't get this network of, these cobwebs joining up and these links joining up as well as we had, and whether that will have an impact on the economy, because I'm sure it will, because the business is, we all come together to do business, as from that side. Again, the VR side. Now, I still think, where we're looking to go with this, and looking to. I can see the opportunity there. The expos that I showed you around in the VR side. I mean, there's so much you could do with that. The networking side, that I don't know, because no, you were you in the networking on the Friday afternoon? There was me,
Andrew, I don't think you were. Kelly,
Vicky, Andrew, Kelly, Vicky. Yes, you were, weren't you? But because what I noticed there was, which was this greater, which is what I liked, was, as you said, because you got these quiet areas, and they're so anybody in the main sort of like corridors, main gangways can hear each other and you can talk. If you want to have a separate conversation, you walk off, and you say walk off, you float off. into one of these blue zoned areas, and nobody can hear you talk other than when the people that are in that blue area. And what I did notice was Sam and Mike went off because Sam had got a problem with Office. Now, that Office 365, that wouldn't have happened on a Zoom networking, because you've got that ability. You haven't got the ability to sort of like say, excuse me, we're just going to go off. It would, I don't think it would feel right with Zoom on that. And I think that's where this VR, and that's where I think there's some work to do it, where the future will come with it. There'll be a mixture within this. I'm just going to flash up here because I think Paul Green has just put a comment. Hi guys, I think there will be a gradual transition back to face for the rest of this year until the majority of people feel comfortable, and some people will stay virtual as well. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Paul, on that as well. It says, don't forget to send me the link for the virtual reality platform, Adam. Forgot to say that. I did say that I'd send it to him. I will send that to you, Paul. So yeah, I think there is, because there is, I mean, it all started, it's a gaming platform. That's where it started from. But again, it's that gaming platform that's been brought into sort of like the real world and actually works. You know, the Connex Expo that we did with Sam Bainham and Connex Portal was phenomenal. That was in my eyes, and people were dropping in and out of it. And for saying that it was a spur of the moment, really spur of the moment thing. 2 weeks before, as an expo, there was, I think, 400 odd people throughout the 2 days that dropped into it, which is a hell of a, because saying there was no promotion, but fantastic. So yeah, I think there is definitely a hybrid model, but I think there's also a hybrid model VR side.
Yeah, there is, without a doubt. What we've got to watch with these online expos, in my view, is that, and we've exhibited at a few, we've been to a few, it's so easy just to cut and paste stuff into people's inboxes. And even when we've exhibited, we've just been spammed with a whole load of stuff that is no use to us at all, because it is easy not to have a conversation. It's easy for people just to cut and paste, drop, and all of a sudden you're left with a whole load of stuff. You think, great, I've got loads of inquiries, loads of people interested in us. All they're trying to do is basically, and I'll use the words, it's quite, they're basically bottling their sales techniques, and they're not even growing relationships.
They're trying to do a fast shortcut probably on something.
Absolutely. All that does to me is get deleted. So they're wasting their time in doing that, because at the end of the day, they have to have a conversation. Now, the platforms that we've exhibited at as well, in my view, I want to have a digital exhibition that someone comes to our stand digitally, clicks on something, fires something up to us, then creates a live feed for us to talk to that person. None of this sitting having to watch a video, or, you know, just get an inquiry and deal with it later on. Because if these online virtual expos are here to stay, which I think they will be, I think the technology has got to be adjusted so that it allows people to have a conversation, and none of this recording stuff.
Now, that's where Frame VR is completely different to the expos that are normally going, because you have that conversation. Kelly's just put up here. It says, but the exhibits on the VR, you will be there and they can talk. So the reason I say this is Mark Weymouth, because you've got this avatar, you know, like you have the avatar, you can set it up so your exhibition is in a blue area. So it's a quiet area. So anybody who comes into your exhibition to look round, there's no message box, but you can you have your avatar there, and you're online and you're happily working away, and it alerts you that somebody's come in because you've got it in the background, and you can open up, and now it's conversation. There's no chat. It's conversation, looking at each other as well. And that's the beauty of this VR one, I think, with Frame VR. It is a more immersive side, and it gets away from that chat. I was taking Luke through it, and I showed him the Connex one, where you've been into that VR room. It's hard to explain, but imagine an expo with all the marketing stuff up in the room and the exhibitions. What you do is you can drop 3D models into there. So if you've got a 3D model of a CNC machine, or I mean, I don't know whether you've been in the platform since. I've got a McLaren in my VR hall now, and an AC Cobra. I've got a Predator, full statue Predator in there. Kelly's seen this because she's dropped in. So you can do all these, and you can interact and click things to go into different tabs. But it's that conversation. I think you're exactly right. It's this conversation that you want, And this VR side, and there's a number of platforms out there that do it, enables that conversation because that's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not this tap away, and everybody seems to want to shortcut marketing, and I'm telling you now, you can't shortcut marketing at all. There's a science behind it, definitely, and there it is all about face-to-face and building relationships.
So I'll tell you what happened the other day. We were exhibiting this one the other day, and somebody literally just filled our inbox with spam. And I'm thinking, I know this person. Would I ever do business with them? No. Have we ever wanted to do business with them? No. They don't fit with what we do, and we don't want to do any work with them. Now, I know that sounds quite negative, and we're trying to cut ourselves off, but the bottom line is we're not interested. But we were just spammed after spammed after spam. Now, would that have happened in a face-to-face exhibition? Would they literally have stood and literally just keep forcing their literature in my hand until we actually turn around and say yes? No, they wouldn't. So why they do it digitally, I don't know. It could have been a system issue. It could have been kept repeating, but it kept coming through and kept coming through. Now, again, I think the other thing is as well, with the virtual stuff, is the buzz I get from an exhibition is standing on an exhibition stand and actually talking to people and actually trying to entice people over. I actually enjoy the challenge of that. It's good fun. I normally, rate myself on it. Sometimes it's just like, oh, how, where's the fire exit or whatever, and people sort of like start talking to you. All of a sudden, then you're in a conversation. Or even in the past, I've actually held the show guide or the exhibition guide and people actually think I'm part of the actual exhibition. They come over to you and go, well, do you know where this is? And you say, well, actually, no. You start talking to them, you're in a conversation. And that you can't do virtually at the moment, as far as I can see. So, again, same as the networks. There's a market for both, without a doubt. Obviously, you can reach further people overseas, etc., via the digital way. Better for the environment. Is it as engaging? Possibly not. Do you get spammed with more stuff? Hell yes, because I wouldn't have the guts to keep going up to people's exhibition stand like 10 times going, have this, have this, have this, have this. Because I think after once, I think you'd be told where to go. So it's interesting, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I think this is where, from those VR platforms, the frame, or a number of them, I'm saying frame because this is the one that we're messing about with, is you do have that ability. Because they're walking past. So as they're walking past, and also there's things like, where you explained there around saying, oh, do you know where such and such is? Well, we had this at the Connex portal. So somebody come up to you and say, you ain't seen Lee Howarth, have you, anywhere? And you say, yeah, he is. And you've got this laser target pointer, and you can point it and it flashes across the screen. You can say, there he is, he's over there, and off they go. But again, it opens up that conversation. So now there is limitations, no two ways about it. Because this is where I see the future of this side, the networking exhibitions and everything, because it's all networking. It's all networking. It's what we're doing. Is that the coming together for an annual exhibition? This is what goes through my head. Is that face-to-face, big, shows and things like that. Then these quarterly ones, these smaller ones, could be done through VR because they can sit there. So that the frame VR just sits there in the background and you're directing people to that link. So I've just put the link in the comments. So if anybody wants to go and drop in, they can go and drop in. So when you've got multiple complementary businesses in the area all working together and you're dropping people in, they get to walk around the expo and see the different businesses, and that sits there and can sit there 365 days a year. You ain't got to upheave it, or you ain't got to do anything with it. Just sit there and drop in. So you can direct people. It's like another version of your website, but a more immersive one. Put a headset on, because you don't need a headset for it. Put a headset on, it's even better. I'm
going to do that Friday. I'm going to sit there on Friday with a VR headset on as we play on Friday morning. See how it looks.
Yeah, because you went. I think you went on your. Did you go on your mobile?
No, I was on the laptop. I think. Yeah.
Because somebody said, "Oh, we've been on the mobile," and I thought to myself, I think you could do that. So I was with the MD Sean in my room the Monday, I think it was. We're having a conversation, and he says, you can do it off your phone, I says, you what? He says, yeah, you can do it off your phone. So I grabbed me hold of my phone, and yeah, you can. If you hold your phone vertically, it's like a gaming thing. You've got like a joystick, and you can move around and scroll and walk around, and it's perfect. It's just so even that side, I thought, that's interesting as well. So
It's definitely got a market for it, without a doubt. And I think the other thing as well, a lot of business is done at exhibitions before the actual exhibition opens up and when it closes. And I've deliberately been at an exhibition and left marketing literature as the last thing. Is you pack the stand away, you leave your stuff laying around, because people would actually think, oh, you know, or you leave your biscuits or whatever laying around. People could come over to you and start talking to you, and you're in a conversation. Now, again, how can you transpose that online? Don't know. Be interesting. And of course, the other thing as well, I think, you know, especially for us, we're always in front of a screen. So we actually like to get away from the screen to be able to actually take the, you know, the eye strain, the break. Even today, I've been wearing this headset throughout lockdown, and even today, I sat next to somebody face to face. I couldn't actually hear them. I've been used to hearing people in 3D surround sound. Of course, all of a sudden, I'm actually having to hear a person's voice. But, you know, there's opportunities for everybody. There's opportunities for both models and all this sort of stuff, and see how it goes.
I'm laughing because I did this last week, and Luke's done it this week. Is we planned in a meeting with a client, and Luke says, yeah, I'm okay for the time. And I did this last week saying, yeah, I'm okay for this time. Because the assumption is that all the meetings are online. We've got into that habit. And Luke come back to me and said, no, that's a physical meeting. I can't. So he's got this crossover now because he's traveling. And I did that last week. And that, I think that's been an easy habit. And I dropped one last week on that. Two meetings side by side, but one was actually physical.
So absolute classic happened to me this morning. I was literally setting up for the meeting this morning, and someone texted me saying, what's the Zoom link? And I'm like, what the hell? You know, you haven't seen any of the emails that have gone out. You haven't seen the graphic. It says we're back face to face. You're asking me for the Zoom link, and they went, oh, we've obviously missed it. But, you know, I said a while ago, when everybody started going to all these Zoom meetings and Zooming everywhere, that people are still not allowing that time to adjust in case they have to travel. And I had a vision of someone literally walking into the meeting, so they go, yeah, okay, great to see you. See you later. Bye. Right, hi, I'm here. You know, at the actual face-to-face meeting, because they just finished the Zoom meeting on their phone. So, and I'm sure someone will do it, but, you know, maybe that's a challenge for you. See who's the first one you come across.
Who's the first one to do it? I did see, I think it was Gus Bandel, he put a photo out on social media. He was taking the mick, and I thought it was spot on. That was where he did a photo of himself saying, right, ready for a meeting. Have I forgot anything? And he's got an orange shirt because he's got the branding and everything like that. So he got all this orange shirt and everything, orange trainers, but he ain't got any trousers on. He's just stood there in his boxer shorts. So he said, I haven't forgot anything. And I wondered how many people had actually walked out thinking, yeah, I'm ready.
It was great. It was great this morning, actually. I mean, a bit of fun. Somebody started giving me a bit of stick this morning. And standing there as a host, I've got no control over if anybody says anything. Normally in the past, it's called respect and courtesy and wanting to listen. And somebody chipped in with something this morning, and I just turned around and said, "Oh, if only I had that mute button." And it brought laughter to the meeting. But you know, you have kind of lost control if anybody is going to say anything. But you know, at the end of the day, we're all professional. At the end of the day of what we do, and you know, you're representing whoever you represent at these meetings, and you've got to be professional, haven't you? So all good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Kelly saying, I have this one the other day around that. So yeah, I think we've done this one to death. I think it's been a good talk. We're at 28 minutes. So thank you very much, Kelly and Paul and the rest of you that have been watching, just discussing around what's the future of networking, what's the future of relationship building and things like that. I think there's more around it. The tech is... we would, funny enough, and if anybody wants to go and Google this, go and Google it. We're talking around AI and quantum computing, because that's the other day. Yes, in fact, yesterday it was. If you want to go and find something really, really fascinating, go and look up time crystals, because this is the next level on quantum computing, and that thing will blow your mind. That will. So yes, thank you very much. See you next week.